It's Anita Gibb, your life coach. Welcome to Tranquility Talk TV. Well, I wanted to share with you that Tranquility Talk TV is a space where you can come to just learn about life and how to live it in peace and rest. And so today I want to talk about facing your fear. So I had an experience about 40 years ago when I was in an airplane and hit what they call an air pocket. Well, the airplane dropped to the point that everyone on the plane was screaming. We thought we were going to die. All of a sudden, the plane stopped falling and we were able to proceed. But that experience stuck with me for the rest of my life. Now, I got on planes when I had to, but I was always terrified and just the whole time just praying and just, very happy when it was over. And so our daughter became a foreign service officer and began to travel the world. And she went to a place called Togo, Africa, and invited her father and I to come. Well, I came up with every excuse I could for why I was not going, why I couldn't go, why the time wasn't right. And so that was maybe 2 years ago. Hey there. So once I, came up with all these excuses, she was like, okay. So 2 years later, we fast forward and she's in Vietnam now. And so you're coming up with excuses again. I don't want to go. And when I found out how long the flight was to Vietnam, it was a total of about 19 hours. I was like, oh God, I can't do this. And I finally realized that something that happened to me 40 years ago was actually keeping me from enjoying some opportunities to travel the world. And so I decided that 2016 was going to be my year of yes, and that I was going to, I was just going to say yes and just trust that God was going to take care of me. And so we began the process. She bought the tickets for us. We ended up having to get passports and visas and shots, and all kinds of obstacles came up. I got really sick right before it was time to go. And people were saying, no, I don't think you should go. Your blood pressure's high. You don't want it to be high up on the plane. And so I thought about it and I decided if God doesn't want me to go, He knows how to get my attention. And so I'm going to move forward and allow, and just see what happens. And so we decided that we were going and we got on that plane. And I want to tell you that about once every hour, I had a panic attack. I just was freaking out on the plane. Nobody else knew, but just in my mind, just the idea of being that close, that high, that tight, it was just almost overwhelming. And so I was in torment most of the way on that flight. So thankful when we finally touched down in Vietnam after a 2-hour stopover. First of all, it was 14 hours, 2-hour stopover, and then another 5 hours. We stopped over in Korea, and then 5 more hours to Vietnam. I was so happy when we finally got there. And then my daughter said to us, shortly after we were there, I want us to go visit a beach in a place called Phu Quoc, I think it is. And it's only an hour away. And so I said, wow, an hour away, that sounds great. She says, I was like, we're driving, right? She said, well, it's actually a air flight. And I was like, oh gosh. And I was thinking, I wanted to say no, but then I said, I don't want to be a party pooper. So let me go ahead and do this flight. And so as we were sitting on the runway and this airplane is about to take off, I'm like, God, I'm so afraid. Here I am again. Please help me. And I just got such a rest in my spirit in that moment. And I heard God say, Anita, you are safer on this plane than you are riding in your car in the DMV, because there is danger all around you. You're just not aware of it. And even if the plane went down, do you think that I would leave you? I have been with you all your life. You have seen how faithful I've been. Would I leave you now, even in death? He's like, I will never leave you. I will always be with you. I promise. And when that concept, when that understanding, I knew it intellectually, but when it went from my head to my heart, that was the first plane ride I've had in 40 years where I was at peace. And tranquility was truly in my heart. And I was able to enjoy the flight, and there was no fear. And on the way home from Vietnam, I was able to get on that plane. There were no more panic attacks. And I realized that even the bumpy and the way the plane was, you know how the plane does when it's moving with the wind, God said to me, even that its ability to move with the wind is a blessing. That the very thing that makes you afraid, that makes it feel like it's unstable, is actually a part of the beauty of it being able to stay in the air because it can move with the wind. And so I learned a very valuable lesson that day, that fear can stop you from having tranquility in your life. It can actually keep you from many, many things. And so after doing that trip, I was just so blessed. Hello there. Good to see you tonight. I was just so blessed to be able to learn that God is able to keep us through all things. And the fear of flying, well, I have another flight coming up soon. And so I can't tell you that I won't be afraid anymore, but I can tell you that I know that God is going to take care of me, and that there is not going to be any place that I can go in a plane or otherwise that He won't be with me. And so I say to you tonight, peace and tranquility are on the other side of fear. So just press through whatever you're afraid of. Instead of running away from it, run towards it. Say, yes, I will. No more fear. And I promise you're going to be amazed at what God is able to do. Shalom to you as well. He is such an amazing God. And He wants us to have an abundant life right now. Peace is not something you have to wait for when you get to heaven. It is something you can have right now. Not because your circumstances are wonderful or great or perfect, but because the God of peace, He rests with us. And when we realize that He is with us, He manifests His peace. And so on that note, I say, good night. God bless. And I will speak with you guys soon. I pray you have a most tranquil and peaceful and God-filled life. Thank you, dear friend, and thank you for your hearts. I appreciate your encouragement. You are truly a blessing to me. God bless you, dear nurse. Good night.